When couples get divorced, one of the biggest concerns is how will this affect the kids? There are certainly practices you can put into place to make the situation the best it can be for the children. Penny Hefner from Sodoma Law joins us now with more on that. Penny, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is a sensitive topic, and anyone who's been through a divorce or is going through one knows how difficult this can be, navigating the terrain when it comes to the kids. What do kids really need during divorce? If their parents are separating, what do they really need?
They really need for their parents to get along. It's as simple as that. The more conflict there is between the parents, the harder of a time the kids are going to have.
How do you help your clients with that? Because, you know, I've been through a divorce, and I knew that was the case. The more harmonious we could be with each other, the better it would be for my children. But sometimes my mouth would get the best of me and I would say things and not play by those rules. How do you help your clients to remember that?
Yep, it happens to everyone. So there's a few things. I think the first is focusing on a really solid parenting agreement, or whether you do it by court order, but something that clearly lays out parameters and rules and procedures for how you're going to navigate when those things come up. How are you going to communicate with one another? And when you don't agree, because that's going to happen, right? How you're going to get past that. And so focusing on the language and the terms of those agreements is vastly more important than any one specific schedule. And I think people tend to fixate on the schedule and the percentage of time that each parent has. And that is important, and I understand why it's important, but more than that, if we're talking about the kids, they need to know that their parents can navigate all the little things that are going to come up along the way.
So that the kids will then feel safe. If they trust that mom and dad can work through this, they're going to figure it out. I'm going to be okay. Can we talk more about that schedule? Because, you know, we think 50-50, like if you get this, then I get this. And that's kind of what happens when it comes to the kids. You say, Penny, that consistency is more important.
Absolutely. And that's what not just I believe, but what experts across the board is. It's about that consistency, kids knowing this is when I see parent A, this is when I see parent B, and they're not going to involve me in it, and they're not going to be asking me to pass messages or to make decisions about scheduling. So knowing when they're going to see the parents, knowing that the parents have the tools that are needed, and when a parent has concerns, and for example, if they think, you know, the other parent is drinking too much, okay, a little bit too much with the alcohol, rather than saying something like, I'm going to reduce parenting time for the other parent by 10% or some arbitrary thing, I encourage them to focus on what rules can you put around that. Are you going to agree that neither of you are going to drink alcohol during your parenting time? Are you going to say you're not going to drink to excess? Like, focus on the issue and solving that and what your kids need to be safe and happy, more than this perfect schedule is going to solve everything, because it doesn't exist.
That is such good advice. That is so good. And very quickly, just to let people know, there are resources that parents can use.
There are people that are out there that the general public has never heard of, right? So there are parenting coordinators who are like a referee for parents, and it's in real time, and they're helpful when there are these little pitfalls and you're not waiting or having to run back to court. There are guardian ad litems to represent the best interests of kids. There are custody evaluators. So I tell people, check with your attorney, see what all is possible and how you can make the best use of those resources.
That is so good. Where were you a few years ago? I would have loved to have worked with you, given the circumstances. Yeah. Go to sodomalaw.com for more information, sodomalaw.com. Again, Penny Hefner, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Colleen.